Yo, Bo, welcome to another episode of In the Life of MightyFan. Got a few things here, a couple pickups over in recent time here, and a little chit chat. Of course, is what we do here on the channel. Hope all's going well for all of you. We are almost to the month of March, and March is a very busy month, right? You have St. Patrick's Day, you have Easter. You have Good Friday. You have all that stuff that comes with these different holidays, and of course, it's a month where I'm going to be going to visit my good buddy Big Slim. Towards the end of the month, going to go see Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire with him. We have the plan pretty much figured out, right down to the Golden Corral breakfast buffet that we're going to enjoy. It's the little things in life that you have to enjoy. You really do. And boy, that breakfast buffet at Golden Corral, oh, it's enjoyable. Walking around the mall afterwards isn't very enjoyable after that, but there's a mall right near where we go for the Golden Corral. Because I gotta find my hats. Slim's like rolling his eyes like, Christ. Ah, my goodness, I can see him right now. But I look forward to that. I look forward to spending some time with a good friend and taking a trip there to Maryland to do so. Always a fun time. So let's get to the pickups here. So the first one, so as I did mention, I guess a few videos ago in the vehicle vlog, so I did take advantage of one of the sales Mitchell and Ness had online, because this jersey is no longer available in the store. At least the last time I saw it, it wasn't in my size. I didn't have it in my size left, and it's a release from last year. The St. Patrick's. Speaking of St. Patrick's Day, right? The St. Patty's Day Dutch Dalton, 1988. 1988 jersey right there, Darren Dalton. Now, the interesting thing about this jersey, they did make a version of this years ago for Mike Schmidt, and that was a different year, so they had the name on the back, the Schmidt name on the back. So originally when these jerseys came out, you know, us in the Jersey Heads communities, we can be sticklers for these things, right? So it just has the 10 on the back, right? So we're like, well, wait a minute, where's the name, right? Because the Schmidt, we were just comparing it to that Schmidt that they made years ago, had the name on the back. So after some research was done, it was found out through Bill Henderson's guide that the Phillies wore this style jersey for a few years, and in '88 they didn't have the name on the back. The name was put on the back, I guess, the next year or what have you, or the previous year or whatever it was, right? So the Schmidt that they made years ago was historically accurate because it did have the name on the back, but the Dalton, and I believe they made a Schmidt in this too, 88 Schmidt, they weren't supposed to have the names on the back. So for all the mistakes that Mitchell and Ness makes from time to time and gets scrutinized within the Jersey Head community for, this was one they did homework, they did research, they did see that in '88 the Phillies did not have the names on the back of the batting practice jerseys for St. Patrick's Day during that year. I guess any batting practice jersey, right? So it just has the 10, but we know it is, rest in peace, of course, to Dutch Dalton. It does have the Phillies Fat P with the baseball seam on the inside, right? That they wore in the late 80s. And the number 10, everything single stitch at the button down. You see all the particulars, and it does have the Independence Hall logo on the sleeve. The nice trim, the green and white trim. Very, very festive for St. Patty's Day, of course, coming up in some weeks. So I think we all know what I'll be wearing. I do have other St. Patrick's Day Phillies jerseys. I think I have basically the whole set. As far as the different styles and whatnot that they made over the years. And I also have the Mets. I have a Darryl Strawberry. I have the Reds. I have a Tom Seaver. The only one I don't have is the White Sox. I believe that's the only one as far as the authentics that were made. Or I guess Neckies, it would be a batting practice too. They made a Frank Thomas, which I think they reissued in recent years, but there's an original version of it too, with just the White Sox logo on the front and the 35 on the back. And that's the only St. Patrick's Day as far as the older run stuff that I don't have. I know they just issued, I guess, this week the David Ortiz Red Sox one, the batting practice. They made a Roy Halladay, I believe, for the Blue Jays, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that one, so don't quote me on that. If I remember correct, they made one in recent years. And, of course, the Phillies, as I just showed you, the 88 Dutch Dalton and Michael Jack Schmidt jerseys. Last year they made those, and I don't know what else is coming out this year. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. We'll all be surprised at the same time. And I can't remember. They may have made a Pete Rose Cincinnati Reds as well. I know I've seen fakes of it, and I believe I have seen authentics too. But for that one, I want to say it was an earlier release, so it doesn't have his name on the back. Or maybe they just weren't allowed to put Rose on the back. I don't know. But the Tom Seaver Reds does have Seaver on the back of it, his name. I'm trying to think if there was any others. They've made a decent amount of St. Patrick's Day edition jerseys over the years. Old runs, current runs. As I said, they just put out the David Ortiz, which is a nice jersey. It has the Red Sox on the front in red letters, and it has the two sock logo on the sleeve. It's a cool looking jersey. I'm not in a big rush to grab it, but to each his own, right? It is a nice jersey. And yeah, when you think of St. Patrick's Day, certain cities you do think of, like Boston, like Chicago, Philly, New York, whatever. So, but at any rate, that is that for the jerseys and for the hats. And, you're going to see the theme here, right? So this is the brand new era. This is the Flex Fit St. Patrick's Day edition. Phillies with the gold trim on the inside of the outside, rather, of the green. You got the white panel on the front. The back, it just has the Phillies word mark in gold and green. New Era flag is also on the side in white. And like I've always said, I like these Flex Fit hats. They're just always very comfortable on me, and they work. So they're usually you get a little extra design on the back. A lot of the on-field fitteds, I should say all the on-field fitteds, you have the Batterman, but the Flex Fits, they'll usually put the team word mark on the back, which is a nice little extra, so I like that. So that I picked up from the Clubhouse store a few weeks ago. And then I got this. Now I did do the vehicle vlog going to, going to the city last weekend. They were having 30% off NBA apparel. I did not get anything for that because they didn't have really any jerseys that I had interest in. Swingman, I was just looking for Swingman, like I said. The Vince Carter Sounds, they didn't have it. They didn't have any of the brand new ones either. The only one I think they had for the brand new releases was the Jamal Crawford Knicks. Maybe one or two others, but really none of the newer ones, the Harold Miner, the Robert Horry, Rockets, they didn't have any of those. And they just put out, like, the day before I saw it, so I knew it wouldn't be in the store, but a Big O, Oscar Robertson. I want to say it's a Cincinnati Royals throwback. The Swingman version, they didn't make an authentic in this, but the font on that jersey is just amazing looking. Arced, big Cincinnati on the front, big last name on the back, Robertson. But just the way that the font's arced the way it is really just stands out to me. And I know it's a Swingman, but eventually, that's probably one that will be in the collection eventually. I don't know when, but eventually. And I would like to get the Harold Miner at some point, the Robert Horry, Rockets. It's when he became Big Shot Bob, so, and I like those 90s Houston, championship teams. So, and, at some point the Vince Carter Sounds has to happen too. But, eventually I've seen it. It's around, on different sites, the Mitchell and Ness site and other sites. So, at some point it will be in the collection. Don't know exactly when, but, maybe when the right time to hit will come and I'll grab it then. But I did get a couple hats. The one I know is kind of a recent release. I think it came out about roughly a month ago, I want to say. It's the off-white, or the off-white. Of course, you know, the Jason Duck. You know me and my affinity for that logo. So there it is again. Ducks on the side, Mitchell Ness. It's a snap. So this hat will basically go with my white Jason Ducks jerseys, Mighty Ducks jerseys, very well. And I did grab this. I think they just started getting re-getting this particular style of fitteds back in stock with baseball season just around the corner. I think these came out a year ago or so, but it's got the dual, you know, the various logos, got the front panel, good green under, black gut on the inside. These are fitted. This is a fitted now, so it's part of their newer, about a year or so fitted line, right? You got the Cardinals on the side. You got the 100th on the side. I do have the Ozzie Smith with that patch on the sleeve, so this will certainly go with that. Mitchell Ness on the back. So I like this line that they made, this particular collection. I have a couple of them from this collection. I want to say I have the Phillies and the Orioles. And I know of the collection still. I would like to get at some point, whenever that might be, the Padres and the Marlins and the Rockies. I think those are the three left that I have most interest in from that particular set. And last but certainly not least, so I told you about this hat before, right? So the Phillies' brand new batting practice hat for 2024 season, and you got the big green guy on the front of it. There it is, the Fanatic. So this is the on-field 5950 version of it. I grabbed this from Rally House the day that these became available. Good gray under. You got that nice batting practice looking material going around it. Batterman. And of course the Fanatic right there on the front. You got the two-tone, the blue, navy blue going around with the red brim, the red squatchy, white New Era flag. Like I said, that logo on the back, the Batterman. Good gray under, black gut. And yes, the GOAT of mascots right there, the Fanatic. So again, this is the on-field 5950, but I did also get from New Era's site the day these hit. I got the Flex Fit version for this guy, which is the one I'm going to wear most. This one, I think I'll wear it from time to time, but this one will probably be more of just kind of in the collection. I want to keep this one as crisp as I can because this is just such a nice hat. And then the Flex Fit is the one I'll probably wear most. And I also got the Orioles one because, you know, I mean, we all know. I need those Oriole hats, right? But the Orioles one I like because it has the it has the older, like early 90s standing bird with the dot eye. And I have decent amount of jerseys with that. So that hat, you know, would definitely be here with them. And I didn't know. I thought perhaps I could find one on my trip to Maryland, but I'm like, you know what? It's right here. I can just grab it online. Make sure I have it, you know, and you know, we'll see. So those I was able to get, but I I didn't know for sure if I was going to get if I was going to get what I ordered, because when I went back and checked, you know, I placed the order I think last Tuesday. I didn't get any kind of shipping confirmation, and I checked it and it said unfulfilled, you know, whatever it was on there for the status. And I noticed the Phillies, the Fanatic one's all gone, and that one that left. That's how popular that one is, right? The Orioles one was still available, so I'm like, okay, so does that mean that's it for the order? But then I got the shipping confirmation that the items has shipped. So hopefully both hats will be in the box. You know, hopefully the Fanatic one will still be in there. because it is a very popular, hat. Obviously, Philly fans go crazy for the Fanatic. Any kind of Fanatic hat that's out there usually gets gobbled up pretty quick, and this being the first time he's ever appeared on an actual game Phillies hat, I think it just makes it that much more popular. It is. I mean, all these different various sites, like Fanatics, New Era, all these places has gone. So people have grabbed it. Now they'll probably restock, I would imagine, but it was moving pretty quick. Even at the Clubhouse store, I noticed it wasn't too many sitting around. So people are going pretty crazy for that hat, and I can see why. It's a really nice looking hat. I think the Phillies did a good job. I think Bryce Harper had a hand in designing it, so good on him for that. It's a nice hat. It works. I almost kind of wish they would use it for like an in-game, like an alternate game hat or a road hat, something like that. I would love to see them do a different hat for the road games. It's the same hat. It's like, I get it. It's tradition, but I want to see something different. The only time we get to see different hats on them is during the when they wear the cream jerseys for the day game jerseys, or the throwback Thursdays when they wear this. They wear the maroon. And then, of course, they'll have their City Connect this year, but it has yet to be officially debuted, but we'll see. But that is, a new batting practice hat, so, we'll see. Maybe because it's so popular, maybe next season or so they'll put one of those, something like that in the rotation. But we'll see. We'll see. Where there's money to be made, they'll do it. Like the Eagles with the Kelly Green. There's money. And they made bank on that this year. They really did. So I can only imagine they're going to keep that Kelly Green going for some years as an alternate jersey. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyhow, so those are the pickups most recently, right? And a few hats. I got the Dutch Dalton St. Pat's jersey. But other than that, like I said, a couple things from New Era. But I'm trying. It's hard because you almost kind of don't want to paint yourself in a corner. I almost did. I mean, I to be honest, I miscalculated. I had forgotten how many paying fours I had going, and I thought I had everything figured out as far as what was going to come for the paying fours, what was going to be owed, bill wise, credit card bill wise, and it kind of got away from me. And the bills got a little bigger than I had hoped. And the main reason was these paying fours. The paying fours are a blessing and a curse. The blessing is it allows you to spread out the payment for whatever you buy. But the problem is if you do too many of these damn things at once, well, it's not really helping because every 2 weeks there's a payment, right? So if I put everything on the card, so it's gonna boop to the card. Well, there was a few of them going at the same time, and what happens is then it just builds up, So you get these payments, and because I pay things with a card, so the card payments is every month, right? So you have a 4-week cycle, whatever it is for each card, as we should know, right? Well, all right, so every 2 weeks it's gonna hit. Every 2 weeks it's gonna hit, but when you have multiple paying fours going, it's almost like a weekly thing. Okay, this is gonna hit, and this is gonna hit, and this is gonna hit. It just keeps going, and for four payments. So I had more paying fours going than I had realized, and it like I said, it just got away from me, and it was pretty scary this week. I was looking at what was owed and my bill, and when I had to pay stuff, and it almost got to the point where it's like, oh man, I'm gonna miss a payment for something, because it just got just to a level where it shouldn't have gotten to, and it's on me. You know, anything, it's you only have yourself to blame. You know, but luckily, I'm able to pay what I have to pay. I'm not going to get into the boring details or whatnot, but um, you know, things are able to work out, thankfully. But I really almost got myself in a jam. You know, I just, you know, that's the downfall, the downside of collecting. Sometimes you just don't, you forget. You know, you just get so wrapped up in the stuff, and you know, it overtakes you. You know, and sometimes it takes something like that to just reel you back in, pull you back in the right spot. You know, say, okay, well, you know, that this almost could have been really bad for me. So let me make sure that what I do from here on out, I'm being more, you know, in control than I was before. You know, more thoughtful of what I'm doing, how I'm doing. Right. Never gonna say that I'm not gonna collect, because that's just it's in my DNA. This is part of me, right? But it has to come at a level where it's comfortable for me to do it and still pay everything I have to pay, because it's tough. It's a balancing act, and I've said this before. It's a balancing act, and it's not for everybody. You know, as fun as collecting is, this is not something everyone can do, because there's people that will just lose control, completely lose control, you know, and to the extent where they might lose their house, they might lose their vehicles, they might lose, right, whatever, because they're not able to make payments for things, because they're buying in excess, you know, whatever they want to, you know, have interest in. It's a tough thing, and that FOMO it's there. I mean, it's really, really there. You know, when you see these things, and you know, they're always hitting these new stuff coming out, right? All this stuff, old stuff, you know, and you're looking around on eBay and Poshmark, Mercari, you see all this stuff every day. I'm putting stuff on my list every day, on my you know, whatever, my saved list, you know. Not to say I move on. In fact, most of the stuff I put on there, I don't, you know, and then it sells, and it's like, okay, well, that wasn't meant to be, you know. But it's a balancing act. It really is, and I gotta kind of retrain myself, I think, you know, to make sure that I don't get in this type of it, because it really got scary. I mean, it really got scary, and maybe it was that wake up call, like, okay, well, I kind of allowed too many of these paying fors to happen. Now you just gotta reel it in, you know. And I had designs on getting some stuff this month. Once my, you know, my new billing cycle started for the card, I'm like, okay, well, I had my eyes on a couple things. Maybe I can move. But then it's like, well, you know, I think it's best for this month to just let these paying fors get paid, and they're done and out of the way. And I think I'm going to really be staunch about the fact that if I do paying fors, there won't be any more than one or two at a time. And until those are done, then move on to the next thing, you know, as if I'm doing a paying for. I can't allow this type of thing to happen again, because it really, yeah, you know, and you think of it as, oh, spread it out. Oh yeah, I can make this work. I can make this work, you know. And before you know it, you got how many paying fors going at once, and you're still having a problem, because these paying fors are coming with whatever else regular life-like things I'm doing, you know, grocery shopping, gas for the vehicles, what have you, right? And it just all adds up. It really does, and it happens quick. It happens quick. So, it was that scare. It was that kind of moment, like, oh, I didn't expect this, but there it was, you know, right in front of me, and I'm like, all right, I gotta reevaluate here. But I'm glad it happened, because, like I said, everyone needs that kind of wake-up call. Everyone needs that, like, splash of cold water on the face every now and then to kind of hit that reset button, you know? And, you know, it could have been worse. It absolutely could have been worse. I'm glad it wasn't. But, again, it was that kind of, you know, splash of cold water wake-up call, like, hey, You know, let these other things go by, and then we'll worry about what that next item might be. Um, but the FOMO's there. I mean, you know, yeah. But the thing is, look, if I miss out on whatever it is, there's 30, 40, 50, 60 other things that will come along, you know, over the next however many months. And it's like, okay, well, missed opportunity missed somewhere, it's opportunity gained on something else, you know. But yeah, the paying for is a dangerous thing. It really it really is. Because you think it's safe. Like, you think you're okay. Oh, spread out the payment. Okay, we can do that. But again, then you just, you know, and I just, you know, you forget. And then how many you have going at the same time. There is a limit. Like, there's a financial limit it won't let you get past, which I didn't get there. But it's there. I guess that's kind of like the whoa kind of moment. But still, I had a decent amount of them going at one point, and at this point, I'm almost through them. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to utilize this cycle for a couple things. Mainly, it's to finish paying off these paying fors that are still going on, which luckily there's not as many going now. They're starting to weed through, which is good. And also for my trip to Maryland at the end of the month, because you know there's finances with that too. You know, travel and food and fun. You know, with going to the movie and everything. But I kind of want to be ready, and that's where again you have to retrain yourself. You know, I look at it as like a game plan every month. All right, there's always going to be unknowns. Things can happen. Things can break down in the house and vehicles. Those are things you can never be prepared for. But also, so okay, what is it that's coming up? What do I know that's coming up this, you know, this month? Okay, well, I know I want to make this trip. Okay, that means all right, maybe a little less to go after. I got friends coming over, whatever, visitors, whatever, you know, something like that. Okay, well, I know there's going to be some expenses for that. So, okay, maybe less to do, you know. So it's like you almost have to paint a picture before your next, at least for me, before my next billing cycle. Okay, what do I got coming up that month? All right, well, I got the inspections coming for the vehicles. Okay, well, there's something right there. I don't know what that's going to cost, but let me be ready just in case, right? I got, you know, a trip planned. I got, you know, whatever this is. I want to go, you know, the baseball season's coming up. So I got, you know, how many games that month I have, you know, I'm going to. It's either 2 or 3, right? So kind of factor that in. And if, you know, it's forecasting, and I kind of got away from it. I got to like I said, hit that reset button, get back into it, and just try to game plan every month. And okay, so what, if I do this stuff, what do I have left over for the personal, right? Personal spending. You know, the other thing I gotta get to, and it's something that has always been available, but I've never quite done it as much as I should have, is kind of monitor where I'm sitting every, you know, week to week with the card, you know, what I've spent to that point. And okay, how much more time do we have left in the cycle, and try to kind of figure it out that way too. You know, particularly with paying for things going. You know, when you have those going, you know, usually it's a couple billing cycles, at least for me, for them to be over with, right? So, all right, this is what's happened this week. Let's go to the next week. Yeah. All right, now I'm sitting at this level for whatever's in that current cycle. Okay, let's pump the brakes. Let's ease it up now. Pull back on the throttle until the following cycle. One of the other problems that I call it a problem, but the other, you know, things I've done is, you know, that beginning of the next cycle, right? It's almost like that freedom time, right? It's like, ooh, you know, here's a new cycle, right? So it's almost like you want to jump right in, right? But the problem with doing that is I call it front loading. And you front load at the beginning of a billing cycle, and then it's like, you know, you spend X amount, then you got another, you know, 3 weeks or whatever it is after that. We're like, oh crap. You know? So I gotta get better at avoiding doing that. I gotta be better at spreading things out and not just looking at the beginning of the cycle. Oh, this is the time. It's party time, baby. We are at the beginning of the cycle. And then before you know it, you're sitting at a certain amount. It's like, oh, damn. All right, well. So I gotta do better at that too. And there's been times at the beginning of cycles, it's like you have that, like, that this is a brand new billing cycle. Everything, oh, look at this. I'm back to square one. Great, go out, run here, run here, run here. And, I gotta do better at not front loading as much and spreading it out throughout the cycle so that, something crazy happens, I'm ready for it, or if something unexpected, trip or get together or something, I'm ready for that too. Not just the pickups, not just hat and jersey pickups, but, other things too, right? Sometimes, as a collector, you just get so carried away with it, and that's all you do. And it's like you kind of miss out, you miss out on other stuff, going out, doing other things, and I kind of want to be able to, do that other stuff that sometimes I'm just not able to do because I put all my eggs in one basket, right? And that's just how it is. Now, I'm not one that gets out that much. I mean, for me, the big trip is going to my buddy Slim's in Maryland. It's really that's my big trips, but even just to get out, go to a Flyers game here and there, or maybe taking a Sixer game, maybe taking or go some, just have fun, go out and do stuff, instead of just kind of getting pigeonholed into one thing every month, right? So it's a balancing act. It's always going to be, like I said, I'm never gonna not collect because this is just it's part of me. This is part of who I am. But I think it is good to kind of mix other stuff in as well, and not allow the passion for what I do to just overtake me. And it has. I mean, it really has, and I gotta be better about it. Because scares like earlier this week, I don't want that to happen again as much as I can help it. But I say this to let you, the viewer, know if you're a person who's getting into collecting, just starting out, or maybe have done it for a while. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters if you're a new beginner, with collecting, or someone who's a veteran at collecting, has been at it for many years. You have to find your, there's that saying in racing, in car, auto racing, is just find your line. You gotta find your line. You gotta find your line. You gotta find that happy medium. You gotta find that way to balance collecting and your passion with your life. Yes, it's part of your life, but you have to find that happy medium. You have to find that balance where you can get some stuff, but you can also live your life. You can also go out and do stuff and not worry so much about the financial, repercussions of what could be. Don't let that passion overtake everything else, because as we all do, I got bills to pay. I got regular bills to pay. I got to keep the lights on, right? I got to keep my internet going, my Wi-Fi that I'm using right now to make this video, right? I got to keep all these bills, I got to keep paying these bills every month, and I got to keep, making sure everything's done on time. And believe me, that one of the good things for me is that I've always had good credit. I've always had a good credit score because everything gets paid on time. I'm not even like a day late with payments, And that was instilled with me with my mother. My mother, oh God, bless her heart, she worries so much about paying things. Like, she over-worried all the time. And she instilled in me that you got to make sure everything's paid on time. Don't be late. you have to have a good credit score because that helps you get the bigger and better things in life. Like I have this house, the vehicles I have, right? That's loaning. You're getting loans from banks to do this. And the only way to do that is if you have a good credit score. And I even remember when I got the Mini, the guy, that wasn't an impulse pickup. That was a midlife crisis vehicle. That I will always say it was. But I love the vehicle. I'm glad I have it. It's my Bon Birdsmobile. But I remember when I got the Mini, I was at the used car place, and it was interesting. It was almost like it was a. I got very Russian Mafia vibes in there. All I did was nod. Ah, my goodness. You watch enough movies, you kind of... But the one thing they said over and over, you have the best credit. We've never seen anyone with this. It's kind of... His credit score is so good. One of the highest credit scores that we've seen. But that helps, right? Because then you're able to take the loans out, to get the loans from these banks, right? It's very important. And I'm glad that my mom was able to instill that to me. So that's why it's just been burned into me to make sure everything's paid on time to the cent. Don't do these payment plans, which, of course, now I'm doing that for paying fors, but that's not paying bills, right? That's a little different. But all the bills they get paid, and that was just something that was instilled in me at a young age, and make sure to do it. So thank you to my mother to instilling that to me. But with that said, those are examples of how right things are due, bills are due. Make sure that things are getting paid. And obviously, the only way to do that is you have money in the accounts to do it. So the collecting is something that even for a veteran like me, you can get carried away with it, and I got to a point that I should have gotten to. That I let these things kind of overtake me, and the paying fors, and it's just I'll spread it out. It'll be all right, And even then, trying to do the calculation. All right, this is due here. All right, I should be okay. I almost wasn't okay. And it's because I allowed too many of them to come at the same time, to go at the same time. So, listen, even veterans like me can make mistakes, and it's the hardest thing to do is to balance it. I had to hit the reset button for me and make sure I'm balancing things as best I can, the best way possible, even if it means missing on stuff. And that's what it is. Now you're going to miss on stuff no matter what. No one gets everything. Everything they see. It just doesn't happen, right? But so you're going to miss out on things from time to time, but it's okay because there's always that next thing. And that's that's been the mantra for any collector. Once you get the thing in the mail, say this Dutch Dalton St. Pat's jersey, right? Got in the mail, all happy, finally got it, right? Whatever, and then the immediate thing is, okay, what's next? What am I trying to get next? What's the next item, right? It gives you that satisfaction of getting it and able to have it, but then you're always thinking, what's that next thing? There's never a satisfaction, right? This, this is not, there just never is a total satisfaction to it. And it's, it's just one of those realities of just who I am, the personality. This is just part of me, right? It's never there's never a satisfied moment. There are moments where I'm like, okay, well, I've amassed this, this huge collection. If you would have told me this back in 2004 or whenever, when I first started looking at the Mitchell & Ness jerseys and collecting jerseys as a collection, would I have this type of collection? And I would never say I would at that time. And here I am, 20 years later, and I do. But there's never there's never that total satisfaction moment, where, I think I'm good. I don't think I need to do this anymore. Now, maybe if there comes a time where I just don't have any room and I just don't have anywhere to put them, and I'm not going to be one of those people that uses those storage bins. No, 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 no. No, I don't want to put these in bins. That's not going to happen. I want them out. I want them in my house, in my possession. I'm not using any storage bins. These aren't getting locked up. It's like a jail. That's not going to happen. But I think, yeah, I mean, slow down. Maybe, go from getting X amount a month to maybe just one, maybe two, something like that. Slow it down, slow the roll a little bit, as it were. That's probably where I'll start getting to. Again, it's finding that balance. Find my line, right? Find that line and just stick to it. That's one of my goals. My life goal is to grow the savings so that I don't have to worry about bills. I don't have, bills are due, okay, whatever, it gets paid, And it's like, it's one of those things where you have to keep trying to, keep trying to instill that philosophy, that this is how it has to be, this is how it has to be, and let me get to that point, And it's hard. It's hard, and sometimes you do need that slap in the face moment, that snap out of it, as Cher would have said back in the day, right? To kind of re-wake you up, and that certainly happened earlier this week, and yeah, so, again, I say all this because this is the End of Life series. This is part of life. This is, this is real life, collecting, but this is real life for me, so it's that, it's a balance, and it's you're always trying to find that perfect balance, and maybe there isn't. Maybe there just isn't, but the strive to continue to do it is where I'm trying to get to, So be careful, be careful out there. But believe me, the paying force is a great thing. It is. I'm happy it's an option, but it's like you got to use it with discretion, not just use it in. Not overuse it, as I may have done. But it is what it is. I think one thing, I don't know if I don't remember if I've made mention of this before. It's something I did want to talk about in one of my videos some while ago, when I went to the corporate store at Mitchell and Ness, the clearance, basically the clearance store. One of the guys in there asked me, do you remember every jersey that you own? Like, if just out of memory, if you're like looking at jerseys and something and looking at what to get, do you remember if you already own it or not? And I said, yeah, I do. And it amazes me, because I'm, as we've seen in these videos, sometimes I might forget a word, or I might forget like an actor or actress's name, or a movie title, or a song title. I still can't remember. I listen to these songs like over and over. I still can't like recite them lyric for like word per word, like lyric for lyric. I can't do that. Like, I know certain, songs I can kind of hum along to or whatever, sing along to, but I still don't know them word for word, It's one of the things, like Slim, he just amazes me. He knows all these songs like word for word. He'll throw the bars out to these different songs, right? I just and it's a song I might hear like hundreds of times, and I'll like know, okay, this is it, and then certain like I can't sing it, but I kind of hum along. Like, I know the cadences, but I don't know exactly word for word. But I know every single jersey in the collection. Like, I can remember. If I go to a store and I'm looking at these jerseys, I'm like, do I have this one? Yeah, I have this one. Now, sometimes it might take me an extra second or two. But if I'm flipping around on eBay and, oh, yeah, I got that one, Some are easier than others. I had to remember if I had a batting practice jersey. once. I have never I have never purchased a duplicate jersey, and that's bizarre to me because again, you know, but I do. I remember what I have, the different like over 1,000 jerseys. But I remember okay, I have this one. Now some of them might throw me a little bit if they made the home and away version, and I only have one. One of the culprits of that were the '70s Knicks jerseys, right? Because I have just about every player that they made besides Phil Jackson. That's the one I don't own. But all the players, but they made them, back in the day, they made them in the home and road versions, the home and away, for most of those players, if not all of them. So sometimes it's like, all right, well, I remember I had this player, but do I have the home or road, right? And so sometimes I have to rethink of that. Now, some of them I have both versions. I have the home and road, but there are a couple that I only have the home or the road. And sometimes when I see one on eBay or wherever, I'm like, oh, yeah, 70s Knicks. I love those 70s Knicks jerseys. The cut on them, the old runs, perfect. Really good-looking jerseys. Real comfortable. Just the cut, the way they are. Really top-notch stuff. Top-notch jerseys. Those are some of my favorites that Mitchell & Ness has made, from back in the day. Just the cut on those. And some of the others, like the old school Sixers and the Lakers and some of the others, they really did a nice job. But those Knicks, the 70s Knicks, really good. And just the way the names are arced on the back, love it. I love it. So they always catch my eye when I see them. And sometimes it's like a player, like Dave DeBusschere. And I'm like, because I have a Dave DeBusschere. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Which one is it the home or road? And now I know it's the home. It's the home white. And I kind of remember that because the Bradley I have, the Bill Bradley is the road blue, and I kind of remember it that way. It's weird how I remember things, but the Bradley's the road, so the DeBusschere that was the home one, right? But sometimes I have to think about it. So I'm like, well, wait a minute, which one do I have? And when I first got on Instagram, I was taking pictures of every jersey. So I do have pictures of a lot of the some of the older jerseys that I have. And every now and then I'll have to go into Instagram and scroll until I find okay, I have this one I have the home version of, so the road one, all right. Or I have the road, all right, so the home, Sometimes I have to do that. But for the most part, I can pretty much tell you. If, I could tell you, yeah, I have, you throw a name at me, yeah, I have his jersey, I have his home. Or if it's a player I have multiple teams of, yeah, I have these different teams. It might take a second or two for me to remember exactly which ones I have. But I can pretty much pinpoint what I have. And like I said, some might take a little more time, but I can still kind of pinpoint, yeah, I have this one, or yeah, I don't have that one, Now, a lot of them are kind of easy. The wool flannel jerseys, the baseball jerseys, I can tell you, most of them I don't have. Because I'm not a big wool flannel guy. I have a little selection of them, a little collection, but I'm a polyknit guy. The 70s to current day, that's my wheelhouse for baseball. That's what I love to get. And so those are the easiest ones. Oh, yeah, I don't have this one. Like, I don't have any of the Yankees in the wool flannel. So none of those I have. Various other players or teams I don't have. Just the other day when I went to the store, someone asked me if I had a Bob Gibson. I don't have a Bob Gibson. I would like to get a Bob Gibson someday, but I don't. The only Cardinals, wool flannel I have is a Stan Musial, the road one, and that's all I have for the now the polyknit Cardinals. There's a few, just a few of those in the collection. But I don't have a Bob Gibson in the collection. And he was a little surprised by it. But I said, I don't go after the wool flannels that much because it's hard enough for me to wear a polyknit jersey in the summer. Or during baseball season. There's no way I could put a wool flannel on, at that time. Now, I could wear one, and I've worn one to the ballpark, early in the season when it's a little cooler, or late in the season, in the fall when it gets cooler. But in the prime months for baseball, I can't wear wool flannels. So that's part of the reason why I don't get them as much. Like, even the poly knits, they're heavy. They're a little tough. Like, even this would be tough. Like this would be tough to wear in the summer. It's a heavy jersey, so I probably won't be giving this many wears in the summertime. Like I love wearing jerseys, as we all know, but when I go to Phillies games, it's like once those summer months hit, it's usually t-shirt or tank top time. At the games, I'm not wearing a jersey because I'll sweat through the damn thing. I think the worst decision I made, and I had to wear it because it was that '70s night game some years ago when they wore the maroon, the Saturday night special jerseys. They brought those back for that game. I wore my Greg Lazinski, and I had a picture taken with him, and Greg hated that jersey. That's the reason they stopped. He was one of the players that said, we're never wearing these again. So it was kind of funny to see him wearing one. He hated that jersey. Or really the uniform, because the pants for the uniform it was an interesting look, back in that, when they wore it for that one game in a loss to the Expos. And that game that I went to, they got blown away by the Braves. So they're 0-2 in that jersey, right? They haven't won a game in that jersey. But they did wear it when they played the series in Japan, when the All-Stars played in Japan. That's why the original Saturday Night Special, Mike Schmidt, has a Japan series on because they wore that jersey for that one of those games in Japan back then. What was it, 79? Or whatever year it was. But I wore the and I that was a struggle. That game, I think I took it off eventually because I could. It was too hot. It wasn't like an overly hot night, but it was a summer night. It got a little warm. So I'm sitting in my seat. I'm going, yeah, this was a mistake. But I had to wear it. It was like a special. They finally wear this jersey. I want to wear mine. And that jersey came off during the game. So I had a T-shirt or whatever under the. Sorry, Bull. I gotta take this over. I'm gonna sweat this damn thing up. Oh, my goodness. So, but yeah, I pretty much remember what I have. Some jerseys might take me a little extra time to remember if I had the home or away version. But some of them I know, like, right off the bat, And it's weird. It's just one of those mysteries of life for me. Because I'm forgetful with other things. I can't tell you. Like, sometimes I'm talking to my boss at work, and I'll just forget an actor's name or a movie or a song or something. Just like, Eventually, I have to Google it. That's the only way I can remember it. But if you ask me, what baseball jerseys? I pretty much remember, every single one I have. For the most part. Again, sometimes I might need to use my Instagram as a reference on or my YouTube videos as a reference. There might be a little detail about the jersey. Someone legit checked me for a Dick Allen White Sox jersey, and I forgot. I had to go back and look. It didn't look good to me at first blush, but I'm like, well, let me check. And I just had to go back and look. The jersey they sent me had his name on the back. And I'm like, I don't think they had the name on the back. They didn't have the name on the back. So any of the Dick Allen jerseys that Mitchell & Ness has made, the Phillies, the Wool Flannels, and the White Sox from the 70s, there's no names on the back of any of those jerseys. Even the batting practice, they made a White Sox. That's the only Dick Allen I don't own is a White Sox batting practice. It just has the 15 on the back, 15 on the front with the Sox logo. It's a nice jersey. It is one I would like to get someday. Complete the Dick Allen collection, I guess, if you will. Because I have both as the home and away White Sox, and I got the Phillies Wool Flannels. Although I've been told they made a road version too, but You know, if that ever happens, that ever happens. But the only other Dick Allen Phillies I would like to get, because he did come back to the Phillies late in his career, and they wore the, you know, I mean, of course, the powder blue, right? Jersey. So that's one I would like to get. And also I wouldn't mind, and it would have to be custom done, but he last played for the A's, and they he wore as a nickname, because he was from Wampum, PA. So his name on the back was Wampum. It wasn't Allen. It was Wampum, and that's because that was his hometown. So he put his hometown as the name on the back, which is cool. You know, it's a nice little bit of trivia there for those who didn't know. So if I ever got his A's jersey, it would have to have that Wampum on the back. For his A's jersey. That would be a cool one to get. I would like to do that at some point, because you know, as we know, I love those 70s jerseys. So the nice big bright colorful A's jersey from the 70s with Wampum on the back would be cool. But you know, that might be a project for down the road. We'll see. Like I said, the one good thing is there's no one out there that I know who can do custom baseball jerseys from scratch. As if that ever happened. I just made that big speech about being careful and trying to. That would get tough. that one, if there was like a true custom type creator who just did baseball, and you can get the poly knits from the, you know, the 70s, the current day, when that would be a big problem for me. And on that note, I'm going to go. I've gone on for 56 minutes here. But thank you all for joining in and spending some time, you know, with yours truly. What do you always got to do, right? Leave those likes, like. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. Hit the bell icon so you're notified to all future content from yours truly. And I'll be back soon. I don't know exactly. I know I still want to redo that series of showing all the different, you know, jerseys per rack. Speaking of the collection, right, of all these jerseys, right. I want to get to that at some point. Maybe this weekend we'll start that. I know I've said that before and haven't done it. But this weekend there's not a lot planned, so this might be a good starting point for it before it gets into the late spring and summer months up there, and I can't. I can't do it then up there. So while it's still cool enough up there, we'll have to start that series, right? So I might try to start that this weekend. And aside from that, that's about it, right? We're still in the doldrums here in different sports seasons. The hockey, the basketball still going along. It's been a tough watch for the Sixers. It's without Joel, it's almost instant losses at this point. It's like, what can we do? But the Flyers are keeping it interesting. You know, they're staying in the hunt. You know, so it's good to see they got a big win last night against Tampa when the lights went out, partially in the Wells Fargo Center, which made it for an interesting game. But a big 2 points last night. Hey. Again, man, this is the gravy year. You know, I wasn't expecting much, but if they can make the playoffs, that would be nice. It would be good for the organization, as they say in hockey, and it would be good for the young players to have some experience, you know, because they're the future. That's what we're building this team around. So it would be good to see them get in this year. But at any rate, I'm going to go for now before we officially hit the hour mark on this video. I just got under an hour, so... But I will see you all again soon. You all take care. And thanks again, as always, for all the continued support to the channel. All right, everyone. Take care.